Hello, everybody, and welcome back to PotentialU Education Computer Science 101. So here we're going to be walking you through cybersecurity. So what is encryption? Encryption is a process of scrambling data so it can't be read without a decryption key. Encryption is a method of securing data so only authorized users can use it in online communication, passwords, and network security. Why is encryption used? It protects data from hackers and cybercriminals and ensures privacy when sending sensitive information, e.g. login details, payments, and it's used in HTTPS, VPNs, and Wi-Fi security.
Alex, sorry, just to interrupt you, Alex. I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Does every website use encryption or only certain ones?
So a great way to be able to check whether your website uses encryption is through the browser, where it will say HTTPS, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Now, the S in secure will usually show a little lock on your URL when you go to it, and that means that it is encrypted. However, this isn't always the safest way of encrypting. Your data should also be encrypted in the backend, so like your databases and stuff like that.
So if it doesn't have the S on the end, does that mean it's a completely not secure website, or is it still safe to use?
It is still safe to use, but it just means it's not using the encryption standards of the web. So you might want to be a bit more precautious and probably don't put your bank details in.
Right.
So how encryption works. Plain text, so the original message, is input. An encryption algorithm applies a key to scramble the data, and then the result is ciphertext, which is just completely unintelligible nonsense. And only someone with the decryption key can decrypt it back into plain text.
So how would we decrypt data back into its original form?
So for that, you'd have to have the key that originally scrambled it. And there are both public and private keys, which I won't go into right now because it's a bit too advanced. But basically, just know that having your data encrypted is like putting a lock on it, and unencrypting it is like opening it with the key, and then you can see what you've got.
So what would happen if someone else was to get hold of the encryption key?
If someone else were to get hold of your key, then they would also be able to see all of the data you've just encrypted, therefore making the encryption useless. So it's very important that you keep your SSH keys, which are a form of encryption keys, or just general encryption, very secure, because otherwise all of your secrets could be found by hackers.
I see. And the best ways, and what would you say the best ways to be keeping these secure?
I would never share them online. Don't put them into any web browser or any ChatGPT prompt. Don't send them to your friends. Just general safety. Treat them the same way that you would treat a password. This is all done for you automatically by your browser. So this is not something that you have to worry about, because you're sending out thousands of packets over and over when using the web, and all of those will be encrypted. And it would just be too much for anybody to do by hand. Your internet would just crawl to a halt. And when you're encrypting your data, let's say within your computer, there'll likely be options to just put down a password, and that you should not share with anybody else. There are different types of encryption. So there's symmetric encryption, which is the same key that's used for encryption and decryption. So this is faster, but definitely less secure if the key is shared. And it's used in Wi-Fi security file encryption. And then there's asymmetric encryption, which uses two keys, so a public key for encryption and a private key for decryption. It's more secure, but it is slower. And this is used in secure websites, so HTTPS, and also digital signatures.
Oh, I see. So what if someone, what happens if someone steals the private key in asymmetric encryption?
So in asymmetric encryption, the public key is completely public. Anybody can see it. It's sent over the internet. So anybody that's in between, in what's called a man-in-the-middle attack, can take a look at this key that's going past and can just copy it. The problem is there's a lot of mathematics that keep your data encrypted by using checksums, which is where somebody sends what the result of a load of calculations should be. And this is usually done through mod, which is a function that we learn. So mod is just remainder. And it's very difficult to find the remainder of something accurately without the private key. So the public key can just be shared and people can have this information. But if somebody shares the private key, then it becomes just as useless. If anybody gets hold of the private key in asymmetric encryption, it's completely useless.
It's useless. Okay.
So encryption in network security. So HTTPS, so Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, encrypts communications between websites and users. Wi-Fi encryption, so WPA 2 and 3, protects wireless networks from unauthorized access. And a VPN, which is a virtual private network, encrypts internet traffic for private browsing.
So can a public Wi-Fi network be safe if it's got encryption?
Yes, a public Wi-Fi network can be safe if it has encryption. The only issue with a public Wi-Fi network with encryption is that if you are in the same room as somebody else, they might be able to get you before you even get onto the system, but this is unlikely. So yes, public Wi-Fi, especially if it has a password, is going to be very difficult to steal people's data from. Whereas if you were to go into a Starbucks and everybody's using the Starbucks Wi-Fi, then this is public Wi-Fi and you're much more likely to be vulnerable to attack.
It's more exposed. Yeah.
Threats to encrypted data. Brute force attacks. So that's trying every single possible key until the correct one is found. Man in the middle attacks, which we were just discussing. So that's where a bad actor, also known as a hacker, will intercept and alter the encrypted messages. This means that once you get your message back, it might actually not say what it should do. So it would be like somebody stealing a letter and replacing all of the text in it and then delivering it as though it had been delivered normally. And then weak encryption, so using outdated encryption methods that can easily be cracked.
Amazing. So how do hackers use brute force attacks to break encryption?
So with a brute force attack, if you are trying to get into somebody's files, let's say, then they'll likely copy a download of the files. This will be encrypted and they won't be able to unlock these. However, you can use offline databases in order to do this, where they'll check through millions of passwords every hour and then eventually unlock them. So with an iPhone, if you forget your password, then after like 20 tries, it's going to lock you out. Whereas this isn't possible on somebody else's device that's probably designed for hacking. So it's very important to not leave your devices unattended in places that you don't trust the people, because they might just be able to take the data from them and then crack it when they're back at home with no risk to themselves of doing it in that public area where you are.
Is that the most common attack?
The most common attack are man-in-the-middle attacks, as far as I'm aware. In fact, the most common threat is most likely weak encryption, of people forgetting to update software or not having antiviruses installed or simply not using a VPN. Are there any more questions?
Yeah. So just reflecting back on some of the points from earlier in the slides, I think what would serve as a good reminder, and I think that what would be helpful to some students, especially relevant to the exam and to the testing, is just as a reminder, how can we definitely tell if a website is using encryption?
So the best way to check that your website is using encryption, or any website that you're visiting, is on certain browsers. I know Chrome used to do this. I'm unaware of if it still does it. When you click on the URL, which is in the top, the search bar, there should be a little lock that shows that it is a secure website. And if not, then you need to look for the characters HTTPS, standing for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. Otherwise, your website is going to be an HTTP, which is just Hypertext Transfer Protocol with no security.
So for example, right now I'm looking at my Chrome windows and they haven't got HTTP or HTTPS. Is that just Chrome still got it, but it's just choosing not to show it?
Yes. So most of the time, these browsers are going to try and simplify things for people. So it's unlikely to show HTTP or HTTPS in the same way that when you click on these, it's likely not showing www dot. However, that is most certainly there. The best way that you can find this out for yourself is by running your own server. And every computer has its own server, and most of them are on port 8000. So it would be HTTP / whatever your port is called, 8000, and that will show up. However, if you really scrutinize the URL, for instance, I'm on Outlook right now. When I click to the first letter of the URL, it suddenly shows me all of it because it's been keeping it hidden to simplify things for non-technical users.
Okay. And so is encryption only used for cybersecurity, or does it have other uses?
So encryption's been around for thousands of years. A great example of encryption is the Caesar cipher. It's very old, and it was used back in the Roman times to encrypt the messages between Caesar and his generals that were out in the military, like fighting. If the enemy, for instance, killed the messenger that was carrying this, then they wouldn't be able to read any of the attack plans because they wouldn't understand what it was saying, due to the fact that Caesar and his generals had all agreed on a certain encryption pattern. So it can be used in the military. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's developed and is still developing, and is one of the biggest areas of computer science that is still growing.
That's amazing. That's fascinating. It's incredible to think how technology is very, very much sort of spanned from such a long time ago, and so many concepts are still carried through time. It's amazing to think that it's come from such a long time ago. Brilliant. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. So next time, we're going to be covering my favorite topic, which is databases. I absolutely love databases. We've referred to them a tiny bit here, not enough, in my opinion. But next time it will be full of databases, do not worry. And databases can also be encrypted, so it links nicely to here.
Fantastic. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, that's been it from me. I'm Alex, one of the tutors at PotentialU, and you've been hearing all of our wonderful questions from Ali, our founder.
Amazing. Thank you very much, guys. And again, please do leave any questions that you have. We're very happy to support. Please do email in with any questions or any help that you need. If you want to submit any of your notes, you're more than welcome to. And we're more than happy to review and get back to you as quick as we can. So thank you very much for today. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you, Alex. And see you guys in the next lesson.
Yeah, see you guys then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.